Welcome to the Sent from Disneyland podcast.
Here age relives fond memories of the past.
If it's your first time joining us, welcome. On this episode, we'll take a journey into the past and explore Disneyland and Disneyland history with mementos, snapshots, and postcards sent from Disneyland from 1955 to the present. Today I'm starting off by thanking my patrons from patreon.com. You can join and receive mail from my desk or from my Disneyland trips. Special thanks to Random Olive, the first patron to this podcast, and to the e-ticket patrons Tania, Eric Daniels, Joe Gamble, Scott Booker, Monica Seitz Vega, Russ Romano, Michael and Christina Cross, Scott Cagle, and Sheila Harry. C-ticket patrons Serious Inquiries Only, Debbie Weinstein, Jennifer Schneep, Grace Coate, Brian Crawford, Ben and Noel Bruning, Patty Wolin, Angela Reynolds, Greg Gorley, and Aaron Moran. B-ticket patrons Jeff and Paige Orton, and Joshua, and Exorable Tosh Bell. And the A-ticket patrons Elise Sharp, Zealot Infinity, Alexis Robles, Maggie and Henry Byers, Angel DeBlois, and the All Aboard podcast. You can also sign up for my new newsletter for a chance to get some postcards delivered by the USPS to your mailbox. I am your host, your post-host Clocky, and today we have 2 postcards sent from Disneyland. The front of our first postcard has Sleeping Beauty Castle. You can see guests walking on the drawbridge, and if you look closely, you can see a fire hydrant near the bottom center of the postcard. On the back it reads, Fantasyland, the land of enchantment lies beyond the drawbridge, guarding the entrance to Sleeping Beauty's castle. At Disneyland, beyond the castle, Fantasyland comes to life with gay rides in the Disney fashion. It's postmarked October 4th, 1956, with an Anaheim cancel, and although it's removed, I could tell there was a 3-cent purple Liberty postage stamp, Scott number 1035. I assume they visited the park on Wednesday, October 3rd, 1956, when park hours were from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. The weather was a high of 82 and a low of 59. Park attendance that day was 4,428, and this was the day that Deborah Rutherford became the 5 millionth guest to visit Disneyland. It's addressed to Miss Hilda Ray of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It reads, Wednesday, noon, October 3rd. Dear Hilda, we are spending half a day here at Disneyland and the other half at Knott's Berry Farm. We are looking forward to a nice chicken dinner. Love, Irene and Wilfred. If you go back to episode 180, Sent with a Silver Banjo, I reviewed the history of Don DeFore's Silver Banjo Barbecue. Looking deeper into Frontierland history, there was a barbecue restaurant called New Orleans Barbecue. It was located near the Oaks Tavern and Aunt Jemima's Pancake House. It likely replaced the Frito House as it moved closer to the entrance of Frontierland, and was replaced by Don DeFore's Silver Banjo Barbecue. It only lasted from August of 1956 to June of 1957. Irene and Wilfred, who sent this postcard, could have had lunch there, and only appears in my 1957 edition of the Disneyland Guidebook. Searching through my 1956 and 1957 maps, the New Orleans Barbecue is not listed at all. I then looked through my personal photo collection as well as a collection on Daveland Web. I couldn't find a single photo of the New Orleans Barbecue. This will now be a Disneyland landmark I'll be looking for when scanning through old photos and slides. Great news! Enfield Post is back up on Etsy. Grabbing some vintage stamps is a great way to plus your mail, whether you're trying to match the color of your postcard or envelope or adding a themed stamp to the back of your mail. Be sure to check out Enfield Post. You can head over to enfieldpost.com and explore all the different vintage stamps you can use on your next card or letter. That's ENFIELDPOST on Instagram and enfieldpost.com for your wedding and vintage postage needs. Enfield Post is the official postage stamp sponsor of the Sent from Disneyland podcast. The front of our next postcard has the final scene from the Country Bear Jamboree. You can see the 5 bear rugs playing on the main stage, the Sunbonnet Trio, and Teddy Barra swinging above them all. On the back it reads, The Country Bear Jamboree, Disneyland's Bear Country, features the zaniest troupe of performers ever seen in the Country Bear Jamboree. In a foot-stompin' western hoedown, they sing, swing, and strum guitars in the finest tradition of wild frontier musicals. It's postmarked October 18, 1976, with a Long Beach cancel and a 9-cent Right of People Peaceably to Assemble Capitol Dome postage stamp, Scott number 1591. I assume they visited the park on Sunday, October 17, 1976, when park hours were from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. The weather was a high of 80 and a low of 56. It's addressed to Mrs. Holly and Vicki Burgess of Athol, Massachusetts. It reads, Dear Holly and Vicki, just went to Disneyland. This bear show was just great. So was all the rest. Sure do wish you were here with us. You'd love it. Going to Las Vegas on Thursday. Didn't care too much for the plane trip. Dad came down with a cold. Can't win. Love, Mom and Dad. Another barbecue restaurant that was in Frontierland was Big Thunder BBQ. The original version of Big Thunder BBQ opened 7 years after the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad attraction. In December of 1986, a cafeteria-styled barbecue restaurant opened behind Frontierland near the gateway from Frontierland to Fantasyland, which itself had only existed since the refurbishment of Fantasyland to New Fantasyland in 1983. Looking at my Disneyland map from 1988, 2 places opened in the back of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. This included the Big Thunder Barbecue, hosted by Hunt's Ketchup and Barbecue Sauce, and the Apple Juice Fresh Apple Cart, hosted by Treetop. The area filled what was the Painted Desert section of the Rainbow Caverns Mine Train attraction. Some of the offerings available at Big Thunder Barbecue included barbecued ribs, chicken, turkey legs, prime rib, and a Trail Blast sampler, with sides including corn on the cob, beans, and cornbread. The area also included a log cabin, restrooms, and was filled with picnic tables and umbrellas for enjoying meals. In June of 1996, the area got an overlay to promote the movie The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Big Thunder Barbecue was temporarily called the Festival of Foods, but the menu was similar. After the late 90s, the area became a spot to hold corporate events, but reopened and was sponsored by Brawny Paper Towels. This was also the time that the ranch was promoting another Disney animated feature. Now the ranch was titled Little Patch of Heaven, corresponding to the 2004 film Home on the Range. The references to the film slowly exited the area by 2006, and Big Thunder Barbecue continued to run for another 10 years until construction began for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Next, we'll see barbecue at the Hungry Bear, as it will reopen and be named the Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree. This incoming postcard is sponsored by the Art Throwdown. Art Throwdown, or ATD, is an online craft hour on Instagram, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. Be sure to check out Monday's ATD, which is usually hosted by paper artist Russ Romano. I've seen many amazing art projects, learned about awesome postmarks, postage stamp history, and a lot more on different episodes. It's great to stop in for an hour to watch someone craft or design something unique. Each host brings something a little different to each show. I'll list some of the regular hosts, or you can follow Russ Romano 2021 on Instagram. The front of my incoming postcard has a cast of Frozen, including Anna, Elsa, Olaf, Sven, and Kristoff. In the center, it reads, Enjoy Summer Snow Day in Arendelle, commemorating the day that Princess Anna saved her sister, Queen Elsa, with a selfless act of true love. It's postmarked June 27, 2024, with a Hong Kong Disneyland cancel and a Hong Kong 540 postage paid printed postage. It reads, Happy Summer Snow Day from Arendelle. Queen Elsa helped us beat the summer heat with a day of snow. Hope you can visit Arendelle soon. Chris, a.k.a. @RiceCrispy. P.S. Olaf and Sven say hello. Thank you so much for the postcard, Chris. I love the rubber stamp for the world of Frozen at Hong Kong Disneyland with Anna and Elsa. Having seen these postcards recently on an Instagram reel, I was really looking forward to getting this postcard. It's exciting to see one of the parks really embrace snail mail. The printed paid postage stamp with the Hong Kong Disneyland logo is also a great addition. I look forward to seeing more of these in the coming years, and hope that this concept moves into the parks here in the States and around the world. Thanks for listening to Sent from Disneyland. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and tell your friends. It would be helpful to share your favorite episode to a friend or on social media. There are over 200 to choose from. It would also help to leave a 5-star rating and comment at whatever podcast platform you use. If you'd like to support the show financially, please check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/SentFromDisneyland. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Sent From Disneyland, or on Twitter at Sent From Disney. For questions and comments, send me a postcard addressed to Sent From Disneyland, P.O. Box 44, Hood, California, 95639. This podcast is not affiliated with Disney, the United States Postal Service, or any post office or Disney properties. Opinions expressed on this podcast belong to its host and guests of the Sent from Disneyland podcast.